creative.
But I'm a creative.
Every single person is creative.
Talk about creativity because it's vital.
Everybody's so creative.
It's becoming the word like influencer, where people cringe every time you say it, but I guess that is how I would probably describe myself. As a creative, I'm constantly struggling with the inner voice of self-doubt and making excuses like the lack of resources around me. I would think about creating something, but now I just tell myself, nah, we don't have the time, or my camera sucks. There's no way it's gonna look like how I want it to look. But that all changed after I came across a book by the legendary director Robert Rodriguez called Rebel Without a Crew. So Rodriguez is a very unique director that has classic films like Sin City, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, From Dusk Till Dawn, and one of my guilty pleasures, Machete. So today I wanted to go over 3 things that I took away from this book that sparked some creativity in me to even make this video. The overall summary of the book is Rodriguez showing us his journey of creating the movie that got his name put on the map, El Mariachi. Now, you may not be familiar with the title of that movie, but a same movie we later remade called Desperado. He presents it in a journal entry style, so you can see exactly how he was feeling and thinking at the time. This book isn't just about aspiring filmmakers. It's a message to all the people who want to create, but are just stuck in their heads, like me. It's for artists who are struggling to pick up the paintbrush, writers who are motivated to open up their journals, and musicians who don't want to upload on SoundCloud. You get the point. All right, let's get into it. First is set the bar low. Alright, I'm sure that's different from what you've heard in the past, but it's exactly what Rodriguez did when he first set off in making this movie. He knew his budget was very limited at $7,000, he had no crew, nor could he afford one, and he also had very limited time. His initial hope was to make a direct-to-VHS movie. To all of our younger generation out there, that's like direct-to-Netflix kind of movie. It was simple, put in $7K and cash out at 14, and that's all that he had in mind. He set the bar low so he could just get started, and that's exactly what I failed to do majority of the time. I'm constantly thinking that I have to make a film or a video that would make me Steven Spielberg or Christopher Nolan, or even YouTubers like Ali Abdaal and Matt Diavella. When you set the bar that high, you're never gonna start. And majority of the time, I didn't. Now, I just hit the record button and just start practicing. Some of those have turned into actual videos that we would put out, but that would have never happened if I consistently set my goals high and never started. Don't get me wrong, it is a great idea to set the bar high at times, but if you're someone like me who just can't get started on a project, lowering it will help you get started. If Rodriguez wanted to make his first debut film, El Mariachi, a blockbuster film like it eventually ended up happening to be, he probably would have never started. Second is, you have all the tools you need to get started. So I'm always telling myself, I can't make that kind of video because my camera isn't good enough, or I don't have the right lens, or I don't have those fancy editing programs to put it all together. Rodriguez knew that he couldn't afford a cinema camera that normally would have been used in movies. So he actually borrowed one from a friend who works in production, and they just had an old camera that was lying around not being used.
Cost you about $2,000. Don't spend that kind of money. Find some monkey who owns one. I found somebody who had one of these sitting around. He wasn't using it.
While that might sound very generous, he was using a camera that was a few generations old. It would be like filming with an old iPod when there are these fancy cameras available. I still don't know why I have this thing. He also knew that he couldn't afford a lot of film because they were very expensive at the time. So he made sure he was extra efficient in getting everything in one shot as to not waste film. Finally, when it came to editing, he didn't have the access nor the money to afford a studio where he could edit the film, so he would actually use 2 VCRs essentially to edit the entire film. For my younger audience out there, VCR is what we used in the late 1900s to watch movies at home. The creativity and resourcefulness was something that really sparked that motivation in me. We don't need to have the latest and greatest to create what we want. The latest and greatest are just tools to help you create. They don't actually make things for you. Like, I can't just buy an expensive cinema camera and expect it to make beautiful videos for me. This is something that I've really come to understand as I've been watching these amazing short films that have won awards at these festivals, and the creators are using equipment that are almost like 10 years old. Think of it like this, an aspiring musician can borrow thousands of dollars and rent out a studio, but once he gets there and doesn't have anything to put out, then none of that matters. We have to make it work with what we currently have. Finally, safeguard your creative outlook. Don't be deterred by others. There is something to be said about receiving feedback from someone versus completely changing your creative vision because it was not accepted by others. It's something that we've all fallen trapped to. We either look at views or likes on things that we create, and they may not get the same traction we're expecting, so we completely abandon our creative view. This is something that Rodriguez ran into when he first started to pitch his film to Hollywood executives. They would say, it wasn't done that way, or it wasn't done their way, but he stuck to it. Interesting enough, at the same time that he was getting noticed, there was another director that was also coming out with one of his own films, Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino has the same mindset where he truly believes in his creative process regardless of what the executives or others say. And you can see that in his films.
Needs it. I mean, it's just, you know, it's like winning the fucking lottery.
Yeah.
But it's not right. It's just not right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I told him that, well, you know,
Also, I would argue both of these directors have created some amazing, unique films. It's their unique creative vision that have made them legendary in their careers. I realize I kind of have to be the same way. I'm all about being receptive to feedback, but it shouldn't change my entire creative vision. Alright guys, there you have it. 3 things that I have taken away from this book and applied it to my creative process. Let me know if you've checked out this book before. And again, this isn't just for aspiring film students. It's for anyone who's trying to exercise your creative mind. Alright, bye guys.